we are going to go through some of the best ways to get your client onboarded and use our tools to make it easier to work with clients. Here's our agenda. First, we're going to go over client onboarding. We want to talk about how to add clients. We want to talk about sharing and receiving files. And we're going to talk about co-editing with clients. Next, we're going to go into our projects and see how we can utilize those document and information requests to gather data from our clients. Lastly, we're going to talk about search, how we can maximize our search results in ShareFile. And then lastly, we're going to talk about some essential tools for working with clients in ShareFile, like ShareFile for Windows, ShareFile for Mac, and ShareFile for Outlook. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. It's demo time. The first thing that we want to go over is client onboarding, as in how do we share or request data from users outside of the ShareFile account. This is likely why you purchased ShareFile in the first place, but we need to discuss first what type of access your client or external user needs. Do they need access to files and folders in a one-off type situation where you're going to share something and it doesn't require much follow-up? Or are you looking to collaborate with your external users and you need to give them more of a permanent access? Let's look at the first situation where you're going to be sending or requesting data from users in a one-off manner. First, I recommend that you build out a folder structure. So here we're going to go to our shared folders here. We're going to let that load, and then you can see I have some specific folders here. Once you've built out a folder structure and then add your files to those folders, let's take a look here. You can see that we have some data in here. I'm sure you guys probably already have some type of folder structure. If you don't, go ahead and build that out. Add your files in here. It's super easy to add folders. You just click the blue button, click create folder. If you need to upload files, select the upload button. Once you've built out a folder structure and added files, you should be ready to share or request some of that data. The next question is, do you know who you need to send that data to or request that data from? If you know, then I recommend selecting the file, files, or folder that you want to share and then select share to specific people. So let's take a look at that. Let's find a few files that we want to share. Let's go ahead and click the share button. Then we want to send to specific people. So we're going to send these 3 documents to a specific person. And what we can do is we can actually type out their email address here, or if I start typing and I already have someone added into my ShareFile account, they'll actually come up. So let's take a look here. Tom wasn't added, but maybe Bruno is. Yep, so here we can actually take and click this, and then it will automatically put it in here. And then you can see that they can download these documents after signing in. That's what we want. Whenever I add users to send to specific people, if they don't already have a ShareFile account, they will actually get a welcome email and they'll have to set up that ShareFile account in order to access this. This is great because we want to make sure that the data that we're sharing with that specific person is only for them. You can create a message and add a subject line to this share that you're going to send to them, okay? This is just one way. I do recommend utilizing ShareFile to send data to your clients. You also have the ability to request files. So let's go ahead and uncheck these. And we want to say we want to request some files and we want them to be put into this Acme construction folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the plus button here, and then we're going to request files. Again, in this one-off type scenario, if you know who you're going to send this specific request to, let's go ahead and use the send to specific people. Put in the email address, fill out the subject and message, and then you also have the ability to remember that subject and message, and then go ahead and click request. If you're looking to create a link where only people have access to the link and can access specific files, you may need to create a client first depending on your share settings, or you can use a public link option. This is where anyone can access the link if they have it. This is our least secure option, but great for items that you just need to be easily accessed without security. So let's take a look at that. So maybe I need to send these 3 files to someone, but I want to just create a link, okay? I can select the share button, and then I have the ability to get a link. When I click this, it's going to give me options, okay? I can select edit options, and I can specify how I want to share this link. Do I want it to be a public link, which you can see these top 2 options are. That means if I send it out and Tom sends that same link to Sally, they're both going to be able to open that without any logging in, even though on this second option they will have to put in a name and email address. But if I select one of these other options where it's client contacts or employees after signing in, they will have to be a client on the account already in order for them to be able to access this link. So that's a great distinction for any of you out there that maybe have created a link and you have this selected, but you send it to someone and they can't access it. If they can't access it, it's likely due to them not having a client account on ShareFile. So what you can do is you can actually come out of here and go and select the People tab. You can do it from the Manage Users Home, create a client contact here, which allows you to fill out this information. And then you can actually send them that link again, as long as they are in this client contacts list. If I come over here to the People tab, you can see all of these contacts. If they're in this contacts list and you share that link with them, they would be able to access it. So my recommendation is that if you're not going to send a public link for a one-off type situation, go ahead and use that Send to Specific People tab. That way, you know that a user account is getting created whenever you share this. I just definitely recommend doing this, and it also gives that extra layer of security. Now let's look at another option where clients can be added to ShareFile folders so that they can collaborate on the data with you. Go ahead and open up a folder like the one that I have here. Then we can go ahead and select the People tab at the top. And from here, we can add specific people to this folder. So what happens then is once we add a client to this list, they will be created as a client. They will log into ShareFile, and then they will have access to this Acme Construction folder. If they are not a client already on your account, let's go ahead and walk through this. Add people to folder. If they're not someone you can actually pull up, like Bruno here, you can actually select Create New User and then create this client directly from this page here. Once you add the user's details, you can give them specific folder permissions, and you can also allow these folder permissions to apply to subfolders below it. If you only want this user accessing Acme Construction, this folder, then uncheck this. Fill it in and then click Add. Once they're added to this folder, you'll be able to see them listed here and the permissions that they have access to. Once they log into ShareFile, they'll have access to this Acme Construction folder under Shared Folders, and that's the only folder that they'll have access to unless you add them to other folders, right? From there, they would see all of these files and all of the other folders if you added them to the subfolders as well. If you did not add them to the subfolders, they'll only see the files in here. What's cool about that is it leads us into our next kind of topic, and that is the co-editing portion. Once a user has access here to these files, they can then become co-editors on Office documents. So let's look at this Rise of Contracting document. If we go ahead and open it up, you can see that it's loading and it's going to show us what it looks like. We have the option to edit on the right-hand side, and if I select edit, it's going to bring us into our online previewer. This is a Office Online previewer, and it allows us to utilize this with our external clients and external entities to co-edit. So if I was in here making some changes, which I can do, let's just go ahead and make a couple changes here. Test, I'm going to throw a test in here. You can see that it's going to save at the top right-hand corner immediately, which is nice. It saves as another version. But on top of that, if someone else was logged in here, you would see their little icon right here, and you would actually be able to see them co-editing with you. I don't have someone to co-edit with right now, so you're not going to be able to see that, but they would do the same thing. They would navigate to this file in ShareFile, select edit, and then they would be able to actually come in here and edit directly. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. I'm going to go back. And from here, I have the ability to continue doing this with other documents and other clients within ShareFile. Next, we're going to look at adding a client user to projects. First, we need to build out a project, but for the sake of time, we're going to just take a look at a project we've already built. It has some document requests ready to send to customers already here, and a form that we call information request here as well. Let's take a look at document request. So I'll navigate here. Then what we can do is select the document request. These are some of the documents that we're requesting for an external entity to upload to us. So they're going to be providing the actual document, but we have listed out here some of the documents that we would like to request. So in order to send them the request, we have to select the items that we want to send to them. Then we can select assign users. Then we can either type in, again, their name if they're already a client in ShareFile, or if they're not, we can just select create new client contact. We fill out their information. This is for John Doe. Sorry. Now, once we've created them, we are going to select them as an assignee, and then we are going to go ahead and assign. This will send them an email, let them know that they've been added to our ShareFile account, and that they need to upload these 3 documents to us. Let's take a look at our information request. Maybe we have a form that we want to send someone to fill out. Let's select this form. We can see they have some specific fields that they need to fill out for us. And then what we can do is select the actual form and click assign. Same concept. We can assign it to a specific person, or we can actually give them a link. And what I want to do is go ahead and select assign to a specific person. We're going to use that same John Doe since we've already created them. There it is, John Doe at test. We'll go ahead and select the permission set as assignee. Then we can expire a link if we wanted to, but we're going to go ahead and click assign. Once we assign it, that John Doe is going to receive another email saying, you need to fill out this form. Once they fill out the items that we've requested, they will show up in here as a response for the information request. And under document request, you'll actually see the specific item added here. You can look over here and see view files. That would show as a 1. And then whenever you actually select it, you can see some more specific information about this request. So it would show as an attachment in here, and then you could approve or deny that request once it actually gets uploaded into this area. And you can also specifically speak with the end user via a comment. So if you wanted to say, John, that looks great, they can actually see this comment in their ShareFile account, and they can actually specifically reply back to you outside of email so that there's no potential for PII lost. So this is a great way to interact with clients and get their data in a project so that you can continue to do whatever you need to do with this external entity or this client. Now you may say, is there an easy way to search for documents or folders that I've been working with clients on? And well, I have to say yes, there is. Let me go ahead and navigate out of here. We have multiple ways of doing this. Let's go back to our dashboard real quick. The main way is to use our search bar at the top. You can see it here. The search bar looks for files, folders, and also project items to provide you with a single search area. In order to utilize the search to its fullest, it's important to remember these search tips. If you already have an idea of what type of item you're looking for, use the pre-filter on the left-hand side and select the item type. So if you know you're going to be looking for a file, a folder, or one of those project requests, go ahead and select one of those and then start typing in what you're looking for. You can also see your recent searches right here, and also your recent files that you've interacted with directly in this search area. But if you're still not able to find the item that you're looking for, go ahead and select to view all to open our advanced search. So let's do this. Let's just type in rise. And then, if we can't see it, maybe we just hit enter. And then it's going to view all of the documents specific to this name that I've put in here. This is our advanced search. So whenever you have the content type as all, you can see any items associated with it. But if we want to do an advanced search, you can actually select the type of item. Then we can maybe specify who created it, when it was uploaded, and maybe what folder location it was last found in. Once we do that, we can click apply and have an even more advanced search. One of the last things that I can recommend doing if you're having troubles with search or trying to remember where those client folders are, I definitely recommend taking advantage of our favorites. So if you go back to the dashboard, you can see that there's favorites down here. What we can do is we can actually select a folder and make it a favorite folder. So if you work with clients specifically on a folder, maybe it's super deep into your folder structure and you want to use that a lot, and that's where most of your actual documents are going to be, we can actually navigate all the way down into that specific area and favorite it. You can even favorite specific files if you're going to be using them a lot. So in this case, I'm going to go back one, and I'm just going to make this specific folder a favorite by clicking the little star beside it. And whenever I navigate back to my dashboard, you're going to be able to see, you can see those favorites are now showing up in here. So if you were having problems getting to those specific files or folders, and you just wanted to make sure that you had quick access to them, you can create them as favorites, and then next time you go, you just select that favorite and boom, it brings you right into this area. Now I'm going to pass this over to Ricardo to show how our ShareFile tools make sharing and requesting data with our clients even easier and faster.
Thank you, Ashley. Now let's take a look at some desktop applications your client and employee users can take advantage of. To get to these, we're going to go to the Apps tab in the top right. And depending upon the operating system you're using, that is what will be listed first. The three tools we're going to look at today are ShareFile for Windows, ShareFile for Outlook, and ShareFile for Gmail.
We'll start with ShareFile for Outlook. This tool has 3 unique installer packages. If you're using Outlook through Office 365, you will be directed to use the ShareFile for Outlook online add-in. If you have an older version of Outlook, you're most likely going to use the .exe installer package. And if you're an admin who wants to deploy this tool amongst a group of users within an environment, you will be using the .msi installer package. When I click on download here, it takes me to the ShareFile for Outlook online add-in. And by clicking on get it now, it would be part of Outlook for me to use. For the sake of time, I've already installed this and the other 2 tools. So we're going to open up an email within Outlook. And the way I know that ShareFile is up and running is to the far right, I'm going to get some icons. I have a purple paperclip. Expanding this gives me the option to choose items from my local PC or items that are already within ShareFile. And when I click on the 3 dots here, as I scroll down, I see I have a little bit more options. I have the ability to encrypt the entire email. Attachments and any messages typed will all be encrypted. Note though, if you're choosing this and sending to a first-time user or a first-time recipient, they will be prompted to create credentials so they can log in and see the email you're sending them. So just take that into note. They will have to create credentials if you're going to turn on encryption for everything. As you scroll down, there is an option to insert a request link. Clicking on that populates this little click here link, and by clicking on this as a recipient, I would be able to upload items into the one who is asking ShareFile account. This link, or actually whole line, can be placed in a signature as well. If you want ease of access for people you're constantly emailing or have, continue interaction with, that can be a part of your signature and they could use it to send you items that way. I'm going to remove this for now. As we expand this again and go down, we have some more manual options down here. Again, you're setting it up to send files securely. You're encrypting the email and you're manually converting an attachment that may have been attached through the traditional Outlook way. You can convert that into a ShareFile encrypted link as well by clicking here. We're going to go back and choose the attached files way, and we'll go ahead and choose from ShareFile. I'm going to dig down and find that item I want to share. I have this how-to document here, and then I'll click OK. At that point, I get a nice pretty banner, and then I can type in the email address of the individual I want to receive this. And once everything is looking good to go, we'll go ahead and click send. Now we're going to hop into the view of this individual. There we go. Now opening this up and clicking on my banner link here, it will now take me as the recipient to the area where I could get a preview of the document and then download. My preview has rendered and is now showing, and if I wanted to download it, I would just come to the right here and click download. All right, so that is a very straightforward and simple way for the Outlook plugin. Now let's take a look at the Gmail plugin. We're going to go back into our apps view, and again, it is at the bottom, and clicking on download like the ShareFile Outlook online version will take you to the Google App Store, and from there you will install. I've already have this installed, so we're going to hop into the email view for Gmail. We'll back out to the list of our emails here, and I have indication that my ShareFile plugin is up and running because I do see the ShareFile icon to the far right. Opening this will allow me to adjust some settings, some link settings, similar to what you saw in the ShareFile for Outlook. When I expand this and go to settings,
Will now be given options for when I insert share links and when I insert request links. We'll take a look at the share links piece. And at this point, anyone receiving links from my Gmail account would be able to download. The link is going to expire after 1 day, and anyone public can open and access this link. If you want a little bit more security, you can change this to employee users only after they sign in, or client and employee users after they sign in. We're going to leave it anyone public for now because I want to show you something a little later. So we'll just go ahead and save. Close out of here, and we're going to compose an email. Within my compose area, I do see the ShareFile icon at the bottom, so it's ready to go. And clicking on it will pull up my options for beginning to share. And at this point, I can look at recent files I've been working with, or I can simply click on Insert Files. And at this point, this is where I wanted to note, because I chose to have anyone public, ShareFile is sort of telling me this may not be the most secure way to share my data. So it's giving me a little warning here, and then it's going to allow me, if I wanted to edit these options to the far right. And again, I could go from anyone public to choosing to requiring them to sign in, but we'll leave it anyone public for now. At this point, I want to add some items. And now I'm getting the folder structure for my ShareFile account. I can choose to share this entire folder. I can dig down a little bit and share a subfolder within here, but we're going to keep it simple and do what we did within the ShareFile for Outlook. We'll choose this one document, and we will add. Now I see that this is attached. Again, if I want to add more items, just click add more items, but we're going to insert. And we have a nice little banner similar to what we saw in the Outlook view. We'll type in who we want to receive this. And again, once you have your message squared away and ready to go, click send. And upon receiving, this is what the recipient would see. They would open it up. They would click open. And then be taken to a preview of the document and the ability to download to the right again. So again, very similar to the ShareFile for Outlook, just a little different look as far as the GUI goes for Gmail or ShareFile for Gmail. All right, let's hop over and look at the last tool, ShareFile for Windows. What I want to do is go back into our web app version because I want to do a side-by-side comparison of what you would see with ShareFile for Windows and how you would see items within the web app. So we'll pull this up and hopefully get a side view here. There we go. As I back out into the tool, and we back out here, I have my shared folders here. I have my shared folders here. We'll dig down into the tool. And then when we open up shared folders within the web app, we see we have the same folder. I want to back up a little bit just to show you how you know the tool is up and running within your Windows Explorer. You will see a little virtual drive here. By default, it is identified with S, but that can be changed. If I wanted to change the drive letter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the settings for this tool, and it's snuck away in your systems tray here. So in the bottom right, you're going to see this icon, and when you right click on it, you'll get a settings area, and this is where you could change your drive letter. I'm just going to keep it at S for now, but just wanted to show you that in case you needed to make some differences. All right. So again, opening up my folder within the ShareFile for Windows tool, and opening up on the right hand side in web app, I am seeing the same items. I got the same folders and the two documents here as well. If I were to, in the web app, want to delete this document, what will happen on this side is when this tool refreshes, it's going to remove the inspirational document as well. We'll back out, back in. Here's what I'm going to need to do in order to get that to reset. I'm going to log out and log back in really quickly. There's our app here. And we'll log back into my demo account. Now the tool will take on that change as it refreshes, but I need to do a manual refresh just for the sake of time here. So we'll dismiss this and we will show our ShareFile for Windows view again. So opening this up and going in here, I no longer see that document. Again, I can do the same things I would be doing in ShareFile. I could share, create share links, initiate workflows, send for signature, prepare this document to retrieve electronic data if needed. When I click on checkout, that essentially puts the document on hold so no one can upload, download, or edit while it's checked out. All documents are checked back in within 24 hours. I could download it. And if I were anticipating not having internet connection and still needed to access some data, I can make that available offline. Another thing we can do is manage permissions. What I'm going to do now is add a particular user to this success stories folder. So when I right click on it and go to my ShareFile options, I have the ability to manage permissions. All right, so the user I wanted to add is already on there. So let me remove them really quick. We'll remove. And I'm going to go back and click on add. And we're going to choose that same person to re-add. Once I've got them listed here, I have my permissions to the right of what I want to allow them to do within the folder. These are your default view, download, upload. Turning on admin gives them the ability to delete and would also give them the ability to allow alerts. So when things are downloaded and uploaded from whoever is on the folder, this particular user will get notifications of those activities if turned on. We'll go back to our standard here. Lastly, do I want to notify this user that they're being added to the folder? I can do that. I could type in a quick little message. All right. And if there were subfolders within the success stories and I want them to have the same permissions as what's given to success stories, just turn this on and all these permissions will filter down to the subfolders. So at this point, I'm just going to click done. And I now see that user added. So let's hop into that user's email and see what they would get when being added to a folder. I'm going to expand this really quickly. We'll go back and I see my email here that I've been added to the folder. All right. So click on this will take them to the folder. Because I'm logged in as the admin already, it's probably going to show me the admin view. So let's take a look and see. If it does, we'll log back out and we'll log out and log back in as the added user. Yeah, so this is the admin view. And again, I can come to the people's tab here and see that they are added. So let me log out and log in as that particular user. All right. So logging in as this user will give a quick refresh. There we go. So logging in as this user, this is what they would see. They have a home area, but to get to the folders they've been added to, they would click on this folders tab, and I see that success stories folder. All right. So again, that is the basics of ShareFile for Windows. Again, a really tool of convenience, keeping you from having to log in and out of a web browser. Everything's right here within your Windows Explorer and ready to go.